Let us start Chapter 4, Section 2. Problem number 1. Write the equation of the line that has a slope 2 over 3 and passes through the point -6, 4. Since you have a slope and a point, let us use the point-slope form of the equation. The point-slope form of the equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now let us substitute our m, our x1, and our y1 into the formula. Y minus y1 equals to m, which is 2/3, x minus x1. Okay, now we are to distribute the 2/3 times the x and the 2/3 times the +6. So we have y minus 4 equals to 2/3 x plus 2/3 times +6 is 6 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12 over 3, which is 4. So we have y minus 4 equals to 2/3 x plus 4. We add the 4 to both sides, which cancels the 4. So we have y equals to 2/3 x plus 8 is your equation of the line with that slope passing through that point. Number 2, write the equation of the line that passes through 2 points, 2, 5, and 5, 2. We first have to find the slope of those points. Your slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we just can name them x1, y1, x2, y2. Now we substitute the points into the equation. We have y2, which is 2, minus 5, which is y1, over x2 minus x1. 2 minus 5 is -3. 5 minus 2 is 3. -3 divided by 3 is -1. And that is our slope. Step 2, we're going to use our point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. So we have y minus y1, which is 5, equals to the slope, -1, times x minus x1, and x1 is 2. We do the same thing as we did before. We distribute the -1 to what's in the parentheses, and we have y minus 5 equals to -1x plus 2. Combining like terms, we add the 5 to both sides. So we have y minus 5 equals to -1x plus 2. Adding 5 to both sides of the equation, you cancel your 5's. So y equals to -1x plus 2 plus 5 is 7. And that is your equation of the line. Number 3, find the y-intercept and the x-intercept of the equation y equals -3x plus 3. So to find the y-intercept, we let x equal 0. So substituting 0 into the equation, you have y equals -3 times 0 plus 3. -3 times 0 is 3. Therefore, your y-intercept is 3. To find our x-intercept, we let y equal 0. So substituting 0 into the equation, we have y, which is 0, equals to -3x plus 3. Subtracting 3 from both sides, We have negative 3 equals negative 3x. Divide by negative 3 from both sides. X is equal to 1. Therefore, our x-intercept is 1, 0, and our y-intercept is 0, 3. Number 4, find the y-intercept and the x-intercept and graph the equation y equals negative 2x minus 2. So we do the same as before. To find the y-intercept, you let x equal 0. So substituting 0 into the x, you have y equals negative 2 times 0 minus 2. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. Therefore, y is equal to negative 2. And this is your y-intercept. Your x-intercept, you let y equal 0. Substituting 0 into the y, you have 0 equals to negative 2x minus 2. Adding 2 to both sides, you have 2 is equal to negative 2x. Divide by negative 2, x is equal to negative 1. So let's go and graph both of these equations. Graphing number 4, you have the y-intercept is negative 2. So that's your point on the y line, negative 2. And you let x equals negative 1. So the negative 1 is on your x line. That's negative 1. And you connect the points, and that is the equation of the line for number 4. For number 5, you would do the same thing. Your x-intercept is 1, and your y-intercept is 3. So you place the 3 on the y line, the 1 on the x line, and you graph those 2 points. Okay, that is the graph for number 3, and that is the graph for number 4. Number 5, write the equation of the line that passes through the points with the coordinates negative 2, 6, and is parallel to that equation. Remember that parallel lines have the same slope. So let's first find out what the slope of this line is. So you need to solve for y. So you have 3y plus 6x equals negative 12, equals 12. Subtract 6x from both sides. So you have 3y is equal to negative 6x plus 12. To get the y alone, you divide both sides by 3. You have y is equal to negative 2x plus 4. Therefore, the slope of this line is negative 2. The slope of the line that is parallel to this line is the same slope, is negative 2. So the slope of this line number 1 is negative 2. The slope of line number 2 is negative 2. And then we have the points that it goes through, x1, y1. Therefore, let us use the point slope form and plug in the points. Y minus y1, which is 6, is equal to the slope, negative 2, times x minus x1. Distributing the negative, you have a positive. So you have y minus 6 is equal to negative 2 times x. That's negative 2x. Negative 2 times positive 2 is equal to negative 4. Solving for y, you combine like terms, which means you add the 6 to both sides. You have y is equal to negative 2x. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2. And this is the equation of the line that passes through this point and is parallel to that equation. Number 6. A publisher for a new novel has a fixed cost of $62,000 and variable costs of $1.80 for each book. If the book is sold for $13, how many must be produced and sold to break even. So to find your cost function, you have your variable cost, which is $1.80 per book, plus your fixed cost, which is $62,000. Your revenue is what you sold the book for, so your revenue equation is $13 per book. To find the break-even point, you set the cost function equal to the revenue function. So the cost is equal to the revenue, and that will determine your break-even point. Therefore, we have 1.80x plus 62,000 is equal to 13x. And now solving for x, we subtract $1.80 from both sides. So 62,000 equals 13x minus 1.80 is 11.2x. Dividing both sides by 11.2, we have x is equal to 5,536 books need to be sold and produced in order to break even. Number 7, a manufacturer has a monthly fixed cost of $30,000, a production cost of $9 per unit. He sells his product for $15. Write the cost and the revenue function. Again, the cost function is your production cost or your variable cost, same thing, 9x plus 30,000. Our revenue function is what he sells the product for, so he sold it for $15 per unit. What is the company's profit or loss if they sell 2,000 units? So now remember, our profit equation is equal to the revenue minus the cost. So let's determine the profit equation. So P is equal to the revenue, which is 15x, minus the cost, which is 9x, plus 30,000. Let's now distribute the negative. We have 15x minus 9x minus 30,000, which is equal to 15x minus 9x is equal to 6x minus 30,000. Now substituting the 2,000 units into your x, you have 6 times 2,000 minus 30,000, and that equals to a negative 18,000, which means he lost $18,000 for producing 2,000 units. We move on to number 8. Number 8, what is the break-even quantity produced and sold? So here we're given our fixed cost, and we're given our variable cost and our selling cost. So let's determine what our cost function is. Our cost function is the variable cost plus the fixed cost. Our revenue function is the selling cost. To determine our break-even, we set the cost function equal to the revenue, and we solve for x. So we subtract 250x from both sides. So we have 20,000 is equal to 2.5x. Divide both sides by 2.5. Therefore, your x is equal to 8,000 units. So this is our break-even quantity. They need to sell 8,000 units in order to break even. What are the total revenues for the break-even quantity? We now substitute our X, which is 8,000, into our revenue equation. So our revenue is equal to 5 times 8,000, which is equal to $40,000. And that is the revenues for the break-even quantity. Moving on to letter C, what quantity would be required for a profit of $35,000? Again, remember our profit equation is the revenue minus the cost. So now we have the revenue, which is 5x minus the cost function, which is 2.5x, plus 20,000. Distributing the negative, we have 5x minus 2.5x, which is 2.5x. And then the negative is distributed to the 20,000, so that makes it minus 20,000. And this is our profit equation. So now we're going to substitute the profit of 35,000 into P. So 35,000 equals to 2.5x minus 20,000. Solving for x, we have 22,000 units would be required for a profit of 35,000. And the last, letter D, what profit or loss would there be for quantity of 20,000? Substituting the 20,000 into the x, we have 2.5 times 20,000 minus 20,000 is equal to a profit of 30,000. And this now completes Chapter 4, Section 2.